Macmillan Audio presents The Family Next Door by Sally Hepworth. Read for you by Barrie Kreinik. I've spent my whole life wanting you. As a toddler, I was forever toting around a plastic doll, wrapping it and feeding it and changing its diaper. As a child, my favorite pastime was making up baby names. As a teenager, I babysat every chance I could, imagining you nestled against my hip instead of the strangest child I carried. There were times in my early 20s when wanting you felt shameful. After all, women were supposed to want careers, travel, success. We were capable of anything. Aspiring to be a mother wasn't original or brave or interesting. It certainly wasn't something to strive for. Still, I wanted you. So it was a shock when, years later, you announced your imminent arrival with a blinding spear of pain. There was no warm-up, no easing into it. It felt like being jackhammered, hollowed out. By the time I got to the hospital, I was bearing down. The nurse rushed me straight through to delivery without even asking my name. The whole thing felt like something terrible instead of something wonderful. Chapter 1. Essie. "Fresh air," Essie's mother had said to her that morning. "Get that baby out in the fresh air. It will do you both a world of good." Now, Essie stood under the dubious cover of a palm tree while the rain slapped against the tin slide of the nearby playground. Just a few minutes ago, the weather had been fine, a perfect spring day. She'd been powering along the Sandringham beach path when the sky began to darken. At the halfway point of her walk, of course, leaving her no option to turn back and bolt for home. What was so great about fresh air anyway? Given the choice, she'd have opted for the less fresh, temperature-controlled air of the indoors any day. She wanted to be indoors now, preferably at Cuppa Cottage, drinking a cup of English breakfast out of a vintage teacup. Better yet, she wanted to be in bed, catching up on the billion hours of sleep she'd lost in the past 8 weeks. But no. She needed fresh air. Mia appeared to be deeply asleep under her rain cover. Essie doubted there was anything fresh about the plastic fumes she was inhaling. But the moment the pram stopped moving, Essie knew Mia's eyes would spring open and the crying would start. As such, since Mia's birth, Essie had become an expert in keeping the pram moving, wheeling it rhythmically from room to room as she moved about the house, not allowing it to sit idle for more than a second or two. When Essie sat, which was rare, she could keep the darn thing moving with only 3 toes. According to Ben, she even rocked in her sleep. "And when exactly have you seen me sleep lately?" she demanded, her voice wavering slightly. "No, really, tell me." Suddenly, Ben had had something urgent to do in the garage. Last week, after jostling the pram for so long Essie was sure she'd developed carpal tunnel, she pushed it down to the back of the garden and left it there. Just for a little while. It was a fine day, she reasoned, and she just needed some time to herself and perhaps a cup of tea. But she was barely back inside when her neighbour, who had a baby Mia's age who never seemed to do anything but sleep and smile, appeared at the door saying she'd heard Mia crying and was everything all right. "Fine," Essie had said. "Everything is fine." The rain continued to beat down, and Essie kept the pram crunching back and forth on the damp, sandy path. The sea had deepened to a dark blue, and the air was sharp and salty. On the road above, the cars swished by on the damp bitumen. Maybe she should make a run for it, head to Cuppa Cottage and order that cup of English breakfast. Then again, with her giant 3-wheeler pram, she'd almost certainly catch the eye of another pram-wheeling mother and fall into the predictable...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?